Assalamualaikum everyone. So today our topic is Mughal Empire, which we are going to overview with the concise material ahead. So let's get started. So Mughal Empire is the largest empire of India and almost conquer whole subcontinent. For the area Mughal Empire covers are the four corners from north, east, west and south. From northern south there is Kashmir area. From the southern south there is the Kaveri basin. From the eastern south there is side there is Bengal, and from the western side there is Balochistan. So the Mughal Empire lies between 1526 to 1862 AD. So how the Mughal Empire established? The Mughal Empire established with the rise of Babur. Babur full name is the Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur. Babur means lion and he is the founder of Mughal Empire in the India. He was born on 14 February 1483 in Fargana, and Fargana is now present in the Uzbekistan. He was the Chagatai Turk. Where he came, where he was descended from the father's side from the Tamur, and from the mother side he was descended with the Genghis Khan. These two are the most powerful personalities from which power has descended. So he became the king of Fargana in Central Asia after his father died, but opposed by own relative, that is Uzbeks. But he dreams and his aim is to conquer Samarkand. Samarkand, why his dream is to conquer Samarkand? Because Timur always wanted to conquer Samarkand, and the dream of Timur was uh, was it was present in the Babur, and for that reason Babur had did two attempts in 1497 and 1503 to conquer Samarkand, but he failed. After opposition of his own relative and Uzbeks, he was deprived of his own kingdom and wandered homeless for a couple of years. During this, made plan to conquer India like Timur. So he diverted his attention from Samarkand to the India, because he was deprived of his own kingdom and he was failed twice on his attempt to conquer Samarkand. So in 1504 he conquered Kabul. Kabul is northwest frontier of India, which is now in Afghanistan. So how Babur invades India? Babur invades India five times after crossing India on account of his vacillating position in Central Asia. After conquered Kabul in 1505, he made his third attempt to conquer Samarkand, but for this, he take help from Shah Ismail Safavi of Persia for fight against Shabani Khan. Who is Shabani Khan? Shabani Khan is Uzbekistan chief, and of course he wants a great army to conquer Samarkand. So he take help from Shah Ismail Safavi of Persia to get his position back from in Uzbekistan, but he was failed again in 1512, and again he turned his attention to India. So this is the Mughal Empire whole, covers Asia, that is India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and this is the Mughal Empire classic period era, where the leaders came. Babur from April 1526 to December 1530, then Humayun, then Akbar, then Jahangir, then Shah Jahan, then Aurangzeb. During 1512 to 1525 period, he led expedition to India again, but non-fruitful. But in 1520, these expeditions why was not fruitful? Because there was the Delhi Sultanate, which was strong enough at the Tughlaq period, but in 1526, where there was first battle of Panipat, in which on which it is the leader was Ibrahim Lodi of Delhi Sultanate, who was no more stronger. So Babur fight a war, that is a great famous war of Battle of Panipat in 1526, and he defeated Ibrahim Lodi in 1526. After he defeated Ibrahim Lodi, he take his footsteps in on the India on the death of Ibrahim Lodi. But before that, Babur retired from Kabul after Daulat Khan realized that Babur wished to conquer India. So in 1525, Babur marched from Kabul again with huge army and occupied the Punjab. And after that, he occupied the whole India on 12th April 1526 after the defeat of Ibrahim Lodi. So Babur rule established from the year of 1526 to 30, only 4 years, as he can't able to enjoy his fruit of his hard-earned victory. So the establishment of Babur rule was on area which extend from Kabul and Kandahar northwest frontier to Bihar east, and from Himalayas north and to Gwalior south. So after the Babur died in 1530 at the age of 47, who was his successor? So his successor was Humayun. His son Humayun succeeded the Mughal Empire, and at continual odds with Afghan, there was rival of Humayun in the Mughal Empire, which was Sher Shah Suri, who who wants Humayun to leave India, and the reason is that because Humayun was a better scholar than a soldier, he inherited sensitivity, not qualities of decisive statesmanship. So Sher Shah Suri, his rebel chief, forced Humayun to leave the India and seek asylum in Persia. But when in 1556 Sher Shah Suri died, Humayun returned and took back further territory for the 7 months. Then Akbar came, who was the son of Humayun at of 14 years, 1556, and the next 45 years Akbar established his reign. So it was the largest period of a Mughal leader who was Akbar, who established his reign. So Akbar was extend the Mughal frontier, Bay of Bengal, south border, and Afghan northwest. People remember him for his gigantic military congress, encouraged artistry and cultural endeavor. He was the most famous leader of Mughal Empire. Then comes the Jahangir, who was the Akbar's successor and son of Akbar, and he and his reign was from 1605 to 1627. And one of the attractive character of Jahangir reign among great Mughals was his artistry, but he built bad reputation also because of strong drink weakness. But besides a strong drink weakness, he built reputation in 23 years as great and just king. But he died in 1628 and left two potential heirs, his son, which are Shah Jahan and stepson Shahryar. So the successor of Jahangir after his death was Shah Jahan. After he kills his stepbrother Shahryar mercilessly and all possible claimants, but despite bloodly start, he proved to be a good ruler. He was patron of art and architecture. He built Red Fort, who was quite famous, and famous of his wife named Mumtaz Mahal, and this Red Fort is called Taj Mahal, who was present in Agra, now in India. He ruled for 22 years. He initiated Islamic orthodoxy, abolished many law practices, and overthrown by war and lust of own children. So he was killed by his own children for the cause of lust. So it was called that by the Salman Rushdie that if the miniatures of the Mughal period are really the pinnacle of Indian artistic achievement, and not a single one of those done by individual in it. So the artistry of at the time of Mughal Empire was a pinnacle of Indian artistry achievement. So after Shah Jahan died. Aurangzeb succeed his Mughal Empire, his throne from period 1658 to 1707 AD. He ruled with iron hand. He continued and strengthened return to Islamic laws. He was closest to achieve ideal of true Indian state, Islamic state. He continued to extend border to encompass Afghan and entire subcontinent. He died in 1707, and after that his son Muhammad Azam Shah in 1707 succeeded the throne. But after many leaders like Bahadur Shah, Jahaldur, Farooq Khan, Rafiur Barga, all this came in 1729, Nadin Shah, Ahmad Shah Abdali, but after the Aurangzeb, none of them sustained the position of Mughal Empire, and Mughal Empire collapsed, and internal conflict among successors increased, and the area reduced to around Delhi. Various provinces declared independence, and Marathas extended their hold in North India under Peshwa's leadership. In 1729, foreign attacks began. In 1729, Nadir Shah invaded, and in 1747 to 60, Ahmad Shah Abdali invaded, which was on the letters of his own periods, his own Islamic personalities. So after the Bahadur Shah Zafar came, who was the last Mughal emperor. His reign period was 1837 to 1862. He ascend the throne for Mughal Empire. He quite uninterested in statecraft. His imperial interest was good poet, Sufi, and calligrapher. After 1857, imprisoned by British and War of India, and he was exiled in 1853, and then 1862 he was died at the age of 87. So what was the reason of declining the Mughal Empire, who was so great on the Aurangzeb period? What was the declining reasons? So it was said by the Charles that an empire founded by war has to maintain itself by war. So the main causes were: number one, immensity of empire. The empire was built so immense that it covers whole Asia from Kashmir to River Raft, Kaveri to Kabul to Chittagong. So the empire began to sink under its own weight. That is, communication become difficult because of enormous distance. So the immensity of empire, the area was so large, so wide, so great that communication difficulty arose, and immensity of our empire sank its own empire. So the second reason is the centralized administration. Centralized administration means provincial government took to imperial for order. Like imperial has autocrat, which has unlimited freedom in lawmaking, and every provincial government has to take order from the emperor, who is the autocratic. So fountain of all honor, source of all administration, power, and of supreme justice are all lies to the emperor, who is the autocratic personality, and provincial government has to look towards the emperor for the order. So number third is the inept successors of Aurangzeb. Inept successor, as I told you, the Aurangzeb was the most fruitful area of the time of the Mughal Empire. But after Aurangzeb, after the Aurangzeb, all the Mughals are called as the later Mughals, which are weak and worthless and not share rapid decline, not able to save rapid decline, as they brought up in worldly comforts and could not stand hardship. As Babur, Babur to Aurangzeb, the great Mughals has hardships. Their interest was on singing, dancing, loved by them, then the affairs of empire. Al Khafi Khan said, in the brief reign of Jahandar, violence had full sway. Sway means the control. It was a five-time foreign magistrate and singer and all types of dancers and actors. It was actually the later, at the time of the later Mughals, after the Aurangzeb, the the military also declining. The interest of Mughals were more on singing and dancing than the military and the affairs of empire. So the fourth reason is the weak central government. A strong central government is a prerequisite for a strong sultanate. But when a central government becomes weak, the rebellions became increased. So the central government weak and it increase its dependence on several states which formed. So under later Mughals, many provinces are formed like Oudh and Bengal become independent under powerful rulers. So number fifth is the no rule for succession. Um, no rule for succession, it means that Aurangzeb's son Bahadur Shah I ascended the throne after bloody combat with his brother Jahandar Shah, who was got throne by killing three of his brothers, which were again killed by nephew of his Farukh Siyar within a year. So there was no rule for succession whether he killed any person or not. They have to ascend the throne as they are their son or nephew. There is no rule that you don't have to kill your person, your brother, your family member, but they kill and got the succession. So number six is the faltered economy. War and expedition increase majorly. So and of course wars held on land and affects the agricultural society. That peasants become no more same. Army movement spoils the crop. Trade affected. Industries closed due to lack of buyer. So Jagir went permanent possession of his holders. So economy become faltered. So number seven is the lack of resources and chicanery of nobility. There was scarce resources and government exchequer become empty due to Mughal imperial weakness. The Bengal, the Gujarat or Deccan become autonomous and independent because of the lack of resources and weak central government. So this led to rivalry among noble for existing jagirs. Number eight is the lagging behind in education. Aurangzeb skeptical about relevance of modern science and education. They were more interested in singing and dancing than the education. This was a period of education when education is in full strength. There were many discoveries of science, but in Mughal Empire, there were all interest was singing and dancing. Number nine is the Epicurean lifestyle, as they all live in the worldly comforts. So at court there were just a musician preferred over the brave and courageous soldiers. So their Epicurean lifestyle is the main cause of the decline of Mughal empire. So number 10 is the Akbar undue liberal policy, which was that he married the Hindu women and appointed Hindu on key post of his to appease the Hindus. So number 11 is the weak military forces. Number 12 is the lack of naval power. Number 13 is foreign invasion, which I told you about the Ahmad Shah Abdali and Nadir Shah of Iran in 1729 and 1747. Besides that, Marathas paralyzed remaining power of Mughals. Number 14 is internal conspiracy, as jealousy and hypocrisy are on a peak, and their own successors, own brother bloods are on the war of succession. Number 15 is the lack of nationalism. There was no spirit among people of Mughal Empire of nationalism, of their cultural unity, as people were was devoid of nationalism. So after the causes we come out, what were the condition after the fall of Mughal Empire? So the condition was there was a war of independence happened, effect of development. Number two is the India come under the British crown as by the East India Company 1840-58. 1st November by Lord Canning at Allahabad. India come under the British crown on a publicly announcement. Number three, the policy of territorial extension, which was a burden. Number four, condition which happened after the fall of Mughal Empire was the change structure of India army. That is, the number was increased. The policy of counterpoise of native against native pursue, as India was divided between martial and non-martial races. So British made them fight between their own peoples. So there's Indian, so there is an change of structure of Indian army. Number five is the Indian Civil Act 1861, which was the annual competitive exam for the requirement to convenient in civil services, which also divides the natives. Number six is the escalation of expedition. Escalation of bitterness was that there was racial hatred towards the English. British came and came over us, and the English language prevails, but everyone has the racial hatred toward the English. Number seven is the economic exploitation. They assume the British control has full control in import, export, dissolving trade. So, except British East India Company, who entered in 1608. So, after the fall of Mughal Empire, the economy exploitation happened, and the full import and export under the East India Company was given to the British. So number eight is policy of divide and rule. After the fall of Mughal Empire, the British Crown divide and adopt the policy of divide and rule toward general populace. That is, it break large concentration of power into pieces, like it break Bengal into two, East and West Bengal. So the last one is the tyranny against Muslim. What was the tyranny against Muslim? The tyranny was that Muslim were vanguard of 1857 war, because Mughal Empire was held by the Muslims. So there was a hatred of British against the Muslims in British army, and everyone in fellow combat that they have to combat only Muslim, not Hindus. So Sayyid Ahmad Shah campaign of 1857 save Muslim from this tyranny, from subjugation that he made British realize that the revolt, everything was instigated primarily by Muslim, but they instigated by Hindus against the Muslim by the so British were instigated by Hindus against the Muslims. So consequently, British were tyrannous toward Muslim. It was only governor and generalship of Lord Mayo, and with publication of St. William Hunter book, the India Muslims of 1871, that British government undertook some measure to ameliorate condition of Muslim. Aftermath revolved India bear entire financial outbreak. This was published on February, and the public debt of Mughal Empire after the fall of Mughal Empire on Muslim was $98 million. So it was a tyranny against Muslim. So it was all about the Mughal Empire. If you like the video, please like, comment, and please subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.